Welcome to my video series, The Heroine's Journey. I'm Susanna Liller, and it's time to find your happiness. This video, we're going to talk about using your intuition. It's the navigational tool for the journey that I most recommend. And it kind of means something different to everybody, your intuition. For some people, it's a feeling. Some people, it's like a clap of thunder hit over the head, do this. It can be a still small voice inside. It can be, you can describe it as inner knowing. I need to do this. And I think I have experienced my intuition in all of those different ways. So it can come to you in different ways at different times. I've had groups of women talk to me about, it's one of my most favorite, actually, workshops to do is when you talk about intuition and women share their stories of how intuition has come to them and how it's helped them avoid a certain situation or take advantage of a good opportunity. So it's very good to have ways, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video, to access that intuition so you can use it. One of the phrases that always alerts me to talking to a coaching client about intuition is when they're saying, so I was trying to figure out where to go next. And that whole figuring it out, the effort, to me, yeah, that's one way you can do it. And there's so many things that we know about using, I would say, the left side of your brain, logically figuring things out. Like if you're looking for a new job, you're going to write a resume and you're going to network and do all those things that we know to do. But then there's, well, why don't we talk to the other part, the intuitive part? I always encourage people to see what information your intuition might have for you. That said, how do you do that? How do you circumvent your brain? That's what the phrase I use, circumvent your brain, to get it to kind of quiet down with all its advice, and so you can hear your intuition. How do you turn into that different part of you? Tune into that different part of you, switch the station. And maybe this is the best time to talk about, we've talked about threshold guardians before. Warning, giving you advice, those negative messages, you can't do this, you'll never make enough money. That's not your intuition. And sometimes it's hard to discern the difference. But I think the best way to tell the difference is that your intuition will never criticize you or belittle you. And it's almost always about an idea or showing you a way. It's not criticizing or judging. So I share in my school and in workshops and retreats many different ways to access intuition. And I'm going to go through some of those now. One is to use stream of consciousness journaling. And this was introduced to me by Julia Cameron's book, The Artist's Way. The Artist's Way. And she talks about it as a primary tool, what I'm going to share with you, for accessing your creativity, which is another way of talking about your intuition, how ideas come to you. And she has two, actually, tools to do this. And one is called writing morning pages. And that's 3 pages of stream of consciousness writing. Whatever is coming to your head, you're writing it down. Every day. And she has a 12-week process that she writes about beautifully in her book, The Artist's Way. And doing this for 12 weeks, she encourages people to get into groups and do it together. I have done that. I have led Artist's Way groups. I'm actually in one now. And it vacuums out your brain. You just dump what's in there. This is boring. I'm worried about this. I hate my sister. Whatever that clogs up inside of you, if you get it on the page, then it's not blocking that creativity, those ideas that you might get as you go through your day. It's very effective way of getting in touch with, again, that wise inner part of you. And then she says, that's the sending part of it. And she says, it's important to have the receiving part. And that's the artist's date. And you take yourself for an hour or 2 hour just by yourself date for doing something just for you, which could be anything. Walk on the beach, go to a museum, go buy yourself some beautiful flowers, whatever is giving to yourself, filling your well. So that's one way to get in touch with a different part of you that isn't your mind saying, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Whole different ideas that you never even knew were inside of you will come up. Another thing to try is process art. And you're hearing artists and you're hearing art. And if you're thinking, well, I'm not an artist and I don't do art, it's not about calling you an artist or about saying you do art. It's about getting in touch with your intuition. You don't have to be an artist. You don't have to do art. It's a way for things, your creativity to come forward. So process art can be done with somebody who does this, an actual person. And in her studio, I have a close friend, Brady Nickerson, who introduced me to this. And the way she did it was to put a white piece of paper on the wall. And then she had kind of a smorgasbord of paints, all different colors that she had on a bench and all different brushes. And she would say, look at those colors. Which one is speaking to you right now? What do you feel most connected to? And I'd look at them and think, oh, that's sapphire blue. And she said, okay, pick a brush, any brush, pick that color and dip your brush in and go to the white paper on the wall and just start making brush strokes. So it's not about having a specific ending in mind. It's about the process. It sounds like the heroine's journey. It's about the process. So you just start making squiggles and brush strokes. And then you think, oh, I'm going to, you start making dots and you just get into putting a design on the paper. And it puts you into a very meditative place. And again, it's a way to get connected to another part of you. And you would be amazed what comes out at the end. Another method is to use your non-dominant hand. And this is the work of Lucia Capaccioni, who wrote a book with the same name, The Power of Your Non-Dominant Hand. And it's to just start taking whatever it is you're writing with and put it in your opposite hand and draw with it. Write your name. I always, when I'm introducing this, I start small, write your name, draw a square, draw a circle, draw a house, just getting used to wow, that it's just a whole different way of feeling. And the beauty of this is that you kind of get used to it. And it's, again, I've talked about doing this and purposely feeling uncomfortable, that it's helps you get used to that, leaving your comfort zone. And then you can actually put it back in your dominant hand and ask a question and then answer it using your non-dominant hand. And you will be amazed at what comes out. And people are amazed. So, another way to access your intuition. Then there's play and walking and exercise and being in nature and just helping you get out of your head. And how many times on a walk do ideas come to you? For me in particular, driving long distances, ideas drop in. My idea for calling my first company for women, Ruby Slippers, dropped in on a long drive to work one morning. So anything that, again, gets you out of your ordinary thinking routine, being with animals, being with children, are all helpful. What I want to share with you, and there are other ways, but I like this particular exercise that I'm going to share with you now. And I call it the paper tearing exercise, but it could be paper cutting, but you set yourself a timer, and the timer has to be set for 5 minutes because you have to go quickly with no time to think. And you get yourself, as I have done here, 5 magazines. And I know you're thinking, oh, she's going to have us do a vision board. And I'm not. Vision boards, you do a lot of thinking. Vision boards, you have to, what do I want to bring into my life? And I want some of that and some of that. And you're pasting it on a board. No, not this exercise. But you get 5 magazines and you set your timer for 5 minutes. And when the timer goes off, you just start tearing, ripping. You can use scissors, but it's going to take you longer. Words, colors, pictures, things that just pop out for you. Just whatever kind of draws you in, rip it out of there. And the timer goes off after 5 minutes, and you stop. And then you have a pile in front of you. And you look at it for clues. What was my intuition able to sneak in there to say about me or tell about me? What do I need to notice in what turned up? So I'll just show you. I did it. And I have, you can tell I'm a word person. Oh, no, not that one. Beautiful. You're worth it. Finding happiness. Conscious. Age. A dog. Jewel-toned colors. Strawberries, but I think it was the red that really spoke to me. Cat food. So I just did this quickly so I could show you kind of what I'm talking about and have some examples. Usually there's a lot bigger pile of things that have been ripped out by the women that do this. And I encourage them to look at it, sort through it, put it into piles. So, and even just ask yourself, why? To me, I love dogs. I love animals. This is probably the cat food because my cat is the biggest persnickety eater ever you have ever met. I love color. And I believe that the colors that we're attracted to in particular stages of our lives have something to do with who we are. And I know you color therapists out there would agree with me. So the red, and I think it also is about nature, and which means a lot to me, in the garden. And but then all these words, age, conscious, finding happiness, I think it all, you're worth it, all have to do with my process of what I'm doing with you. I love beauty. And so I would have to think and sit and think and look at these and say, what is this saying to me? But I do think that what I did, because I was doing it as an example for you, had to do with what my business is and why I'm talking to you today. So that's the paper tearing exercise. And again, the timer, it's all because you don't want the mind to get in there and say, oh, I think you should do this one, or you should do that one. You want it to be very quick so the mind can't get in there and fiddle around with you. So I would encourage you to think of asking your intuition to tap into it. If you're making any decision, yes, go ahead and do what's logical and what you know are the steps that people take when they're in a similar situation. But then always say, oh, there's a part of me that may have other information that I want to tap into, and find a way to do it. And you will be pleased. You will learn something. I know you will. So thank you for being with me today and joining me on this video. I love it that we're doing this together. And I look forward to the next time we can be together. And please always remember, you are a heroine on an amazing and transformative journey. And I'm so glad we're on that same path together.